Okay, so for science today, we are actually going to be finishing our lesson that we started on Tuesday, the 9.02 all the way up. That was the one when we're talking about the different clouds, and how those can help you to predict what type of precipitation might be coming. We talked about the cumulonimbus cloud, that big old word, those thunderstorm clouds that are big, tall, stacking clouds. So we're just going to keep going. I'm going to give you an option here. You could stay on this video and I'm going to read everything and go through the stuff like it were live. Or you have the option, since you're working by yourself today anyways, that you can go to the science folder on our Schoology page and you could go through this yourself. You should all be able to read these words and this stuff, and then you could actually do these activities instead of watching me click through this stuff. But if you're just like Miss Patel, I'm not sure I can read some of these words. That's okay. I also will remind you, though, really quickly about your speech to text tool. Remember, you can always click somewhere and press play.
Elementary Science 5, Water Cycle, 9.02 all the way up. Helpful meteorologists. Copyright. A
And
meteorologist
see,
is a
it will
person
read
who
to you like that. So you could do it that way if you wanted to, or like I said, just stay on this call. So make your choice. And I am just going to go ahead and start. We are on page 4. We did the first 3 pages on Tuesday. So it's called Helpful Meteorologists. A meteorologist is a person who studies the science of weather. They are educated on how to understand, observe, and forecast the weather. So you might also hear these meteorologists called weather people or the weatherman. He is a meteorologist. Meteorologists can use their observations to help them identify and describe the forms of precipitation. Remember, rain, sleet, snow, hail. Precipitation can come in many different forms, like we were just talking about. The type of precipitation that falls from the sky will depend on what the weather conditions are like outside, the temperature of the air in the clouds, and how close they are to the ground impacts what type of precipitation will form. So, this one is a self-check. I'll give you a few seconds to guess the right answer before I reveal it. Which form of precipitation needs to be below freezing temperature in the clouds and in the air? Take a second to guess which type of precipitation is that. I'll reveal the answer in 3, 2, 1. If you guessed snow for this, you were correct. The next one says, which form of precipitation refreezes when it passes through colder temperatures closer to the ground? Okay, I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. 3, 2, 1. If you guessed sleet, you were correct. Sleet is rain, and as it gets closer to the ground, because of cold temperature, it freezes and turns into these tiny ice pellets. Which form of precipitation requires the temperatures in the sky to remain above freezing? So above, higher than freezing. 3, 2, 1. If you guessed rain, you were correct. And last but not least, which form of precipitation forms with layers of freezing water droplets and may occur during thunderstorms and extreme weather? 3, 2, 1. This one is, of course, all of our favorites, hail. Here's a fun fact. Did you know it takes a lot to form one raindrop? One raindrop is actually millions of tiny droplets of condensed water. If you think a raindrop is small, imagine the size of all the tiny droplets of condensed water. It is estimated that it takes around 2 minutes for a raindrop to reach the ground. All right, we're here for a review. So we need to select 2 items to make a correct match. Ooh, so we're matching cloud images here. So I'm going to zoom in. Okay, these ones, I don't know right away, but I can see that they're a little gray down here. So these clouds can bring heavy rains and snow. Maybe. Can usually indicate nice weather, light rain or sleet, made of icy crystals and occur during. Ooh, well, I know that ice crystals and nice weather, that's those wispy clouds. So I'm going to click that one and look for my wispy clouds. That looks like a feather, kind of. I wonder, was that correct? It was. Okay. Next one. Ooh, well, this looks like a big storm cloud. Let's see. This seems like a storm. That was correct. This one, they look kind of darker compared to this one. One says nice weather, one says light rain. Well, just looking at it, this one has to be rainy, and this one is nice weather. There we go. How about match the precipitation to its correct description? Which one of these, hail, snow, sleet, or rain, is frozen water within the cloud? Cause it to grow as it meets other water drops. Frozen water within the cloud cause it to grow as it meets other water drops. Is that hail, snow, sleet, or rain? Take a second. 3, 2, 1, 0. I think this is hail, so I'm going to try that out. And it was. The next one says the temperature in the cloud and the air is below freezing. Ooh, is that snow, sleet, or rain? 3, 2, 1. I'm pretty sure if both are below freezing, it has to be snow. And what about the temperature in the clouds is above freezing and forms ice pellets as it moves through freezing air just above the ground? Oh, well, if it forms ice pellets, it can't be rain. It has to be sleet. And also, I know that sleet is rain, that as it gets closer to the ground, it passes through freezing air and turns to ice. Nice. Which leaves me with rain is the temperature in the air below the clouds is above freezing, which it is when it's rainy. Cool. Great job, guys. We're going to keep going on to slide number 6. Well, here's the thing about precipitation. Snow, rain, sleet, and hail are all formed from water and have very similar characteristics. So how do we tell them apart? The differences that allows us to distinguish between snow, rain, sleet, and hail can be observed in the way that they are formed and their physical characteristics. Let's observe the different forms of precipitation. So our first one is snow. Look at how that picture, it crystallizes and they're like fluffy. Whereas hail, it's also ice, but it's more of like a chunk or a ball. They're condensed. Rain and sleet, again, they look kind of similar, but you can see sleet has a little bit more of like a white streak to it because there's ice in sleet, whereas rain is just water. We're going to keep going. Well, one big part of rain and precipitation is how it affects our life and how maybe even what outfit you need. When you get ready for your day, what's one of the first things you think of? One thing I think of is what I'm going to wear. If I go outside dressed for snow with snow pants, a scarf, mittens, and a hat, only to realize it's raining, I'll have to change and start all over again. But if I'm able to look outside my window and differentiate between the different forms of precipitation, I'll be able to dress appropriately for the weather outside. So let's observe the table on the different forms of precipitation and try to fill in the spaces where the information is missing. So first one is rain in a solid or liquid. Is rain a solid or liquid? Take a second to think of the answer. 3, 2, 1. Rain is water in liquid form. What about hail? Is hail a solid or a liquid? 3, 2, 1. Hail is water in a solid form. Both are water, but rain is liquid. Hail is solid. What about the shape it falls in? What about sleet? How would you describe the shape of sleet? Take a second to think of it. 3, 2, 1. Sleet falls in small ice pellets, much smaller than hail would. And last but not least, how are they formed? What about snow? We know rain forms when water vapor condenses into water droplets. We know hail forms when water droplets collect and freeze into chunks of layered ice. We know sleet forms when water droplets, rain, freeze as they pass through a layer of freezing air. How does snow form? Think about it for a second. And let's take a look at the answer. Snowflakes are formed when water vapor turns into ice crystals, and the cloud and the temperature near the ground both have to be freezing for it to stay as ice crystals or snowflakes. So on this one, I want you to distinguish between two types of precipitation, and then we'll check our answer. So ask yourself, what is the difference between sleet or rain? If you said sleet is a mixture of solid ice pellets, solid snow, and any liquid rain, while rain is only a liquid, you would be correct. Sleet is ice and snow and rain. Rain is just liquid. What's the difference between hail and snow? I don't know. Just kidding, I do. Hail is formed as a chunk or ball of frozen ice, while snow is formed when water vapor freezes to form ice crystals that join to form flakes. So, hail is like a ball of ice that then more liquid water like clings to and freezes and freezes and freezes, whereas snow, they're all crystals and then they kind of form together to be flakes. What's the difference between sleet and hail? What makes sleet sleet and hail hail? If you said sleet is small frozen ice pellets that form in the winter, while hail is larger chunks or balls of frozen water in layers that forms during thunderstorms or severe weather, you were exactly correct. Wow, how smart of you. And last but not least, what is the difference between rain and snow? This might be the easiest one. What makes rain and snow different? Of course, rain is liquid water in the form of drops, and snow is solid water in the form of ice crystals. So, what we just kind of talked about there is there's lots of similarities and differences. One of these pictures shows sleet, while the other shows hail. These two forms of precipitation look pretty similar to one another. In order to tell them apart, we have to observe them closely. So take a second and try to identify which one of these pictures is sleet and which one is hail. And why do you think so? I'll reveal the answer in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the picture on the left, this picture is sleet, while the picture on the right, this picture is hail. You can tell because hail is just solid ice, while sleet is solid ice mixed with rain or snow, which is what makes it this slushy type material. Let's practice some more differentiating the forms of precipitation. So we're going to drag each of these descriptions into the correct precipitation bin it is describing. So first one is water in liquid form. It falls as drops. Where am I going to put this one? Only I know. It goes in rain. Rain is liquid. What about water drops that freeze as they pass through cold air? Ooh, the key word there is passes through cold air. And it's water before. That's sleet for sure. What about water vapor turned into water drops? Ooh, water drops has to be rain. Water in solid form that falls as flakes. Ah ha 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 ha, what do you think it is? Flakes. There's only one thing that can be flakes, and it's snow. Water droplets freeze and form chunks of ice. Chunks of ice. Oh my gosh, that's hail. Finally, we get hail on the board. What about water in a solid form? Falls as small ice pellets. Ooh, okay. So it could be hail or sleet. But oh, small ice pellets, that's sleet. Water in solid form falls as ice chunks. Oh, well, that's hail. I already have ice chunks here. And last but not least is water vapor forms ice crystals that makes flakes. That word flakes again. I know it has to be snow. I'm going to submit. And we got them all correct. We're going to keep going. We're so close to the end. Yes, we made it. So in summary, what did you learn? Well, you've learned that clouds are not just a form of entertainment up in the sky, even though they are pretty cool, but they are also clues as to the form of precipitation that's going to happen. I hope that now you're able to describe the different conditions that are needed to form each type of precipitation and the conditions that are important in determining what form of precipitation will happen. Each form of precipitation has similarities and differences. Now that you're able to differentiate between them all, you'll be able to dress for success each day. So I'm hoping that now you can identify the types of clouds that are related to the different forms of precipitation. You can describe the conditions that are necessary to form each type of precipitation. And you can differentiate between the different types of precipitation. If you can do all that, you can check yourself on this self-check review, and you are done with science class. Great job.